This video will show you how to use surrender, letting go, and acceptance with the law of attraction. I'm going to share with you a process that if you apply and a perspective that if you use will completely transform the process. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, we're going to be looking at surrender, letting go, and the law of attraction. And how when we do this, one thing that I'm going to share with you, how when I applied it in my own life, everything began to change. Now, let's understand first off that our ego is the one that has to surrender. Our ego is the one that has to let go. Now, what is the ego really letting go to? Well, the idea is that there is a larger purpose for who we are. There is a trust in the universe, a trust in the larger aspect of ourselves that if we learn to trust will completely change everything, because then we realize our job isn't to create everything. Now, I'm going to bring a little bit of quantum physics into this, and it'll make it a little bit easier to understand. Now, when it comes to understanding this, realize it's about knowing that there are an infinite number of parallel realities that exist. There is a reality that exists where you are doing and living the kind of life that you want. There's a reality that exists that's on the total opposite side of that spectrum, but they all exist right now in the present moment. Now, the reason this is because the only moment that does exist is this moment right now. We've never actually experienced the past because when it was the past, it was this moment now, and we won't experience the future. We can think about it now, but when the future comes, it will be the now moment. Now, what this means is that what we can begin to know is that since every possible reality that we can imagine exists, since we are shifting through billions of parallel realities per second, what happens is that then we can become aware that the reality that we exist exists already, so we don't have to do so much work to create it. All we have to do is understand the power of choice and how we are choosing our state of being. We are choosing how we relate to the outer world, and that from that, we can then start to make choices in alignment with that parallel reality version of us. So this is really a matter of awareness of where you are, where you quote unquote want to be, and how you can make choices in order to get there. But this is the thing. If we are desiring to be somewhere else, if we are trying to control and we have a blueprint of our mind or in our mind of that, what happens is we start to create resistance because we aren't giving the probabilities the path of least resistance, because we are assuming it has to go in a certain way. So anytime a little nick comes up or something comes up and we don't think it's a part of the process, we automatically start to resist it. So from having certain type of expectations to how things will happen, that's the moment that we begin to create resistance because we assume things are going according to plan. Now, the power of this is knowing that our state of being is the most important thing. That as we begin to feel better about ourselves, we are lining up possibilities. We are lining up tracks to where these things can come to us in the path of least resistance. So this is a matter of choice. This is a matter of our state of being and learning something called acceptance. Now, this actually happened for me. I really began to understand this when I was in the plane last night coming home from Costa Rica, or 2 nights ago. When I was on the plane, there was someone sitting next to me. It was this lady that fell asleep, and her hands were over the arm rails, like almost into my seat, and it was getting kind of like, I was getting kind of antsy because I'm like, you know, I was going to move her hand or something like that. She was sleeping, her mouth was wide open, and I wasn't going to wake her up, but at the same time, I started to feel a little bit of resistance because I'm like, oh, she's kind of in my personal space. That's kind of how I saw it. And what happened was the more that I thought about it, the more that I resisted it, the more it just stayed there. Now, the funny thing is the moment that I used it as a lesson for me to just kind of like accept the moment to be, just allow it to be there. Now, as I did that, immediately my state changed. Immediately I started to feel better because I'm like, I'm just going to allow it to be. Why do I have to judge the fact that her hands are like over the seat arm rail? I was at a window seat and completely over into my bubble, my little space. Why does that have to be a big deal? Why does my ego have to really try to control the situation? The moment I started to really finally accept it, I started to feel better. And within like a minute, she woke up and moved her arms. Now, I'm not saying that that controlled the situation. What I am saying is that because I changed my state of being and the way that I related to the situation, I allowed other possibilities to open up, because it's almost like those realities, those parallel realities, lined up to my state of being in a powerful way. And the paradox is that I really didn't care one way or the other after that, because I started to see it from a higher level paradigm. I started to see it from a higher point of view. Now, then what I did is I started to apply that towards everything. I started to be in the present moment more and to just accept what was happening. Now, this doesn't mean that I was, giving defeat to if things were in my life that I didn't prefer, but I was coming out from the awareness that the most important thing isn't the external circumstances that happen. The most important thing is the way that I relate to those circumstances by how present am I becoming. That's when everything has begun to change for me. I'm sure you could feel in this video right now that I feel much more accepting. I feel there's a different energy underneath the words that I say. Normally I come on these videos and it's like boom, boom, boom. This is all the things we're going to be talking about. But I feel a level of presence that I haven't really felt and embodied consistently before. And it has to do with self-acceptance, accepting myself, and accepting the moment, accepting the universe. Now, this also means that surrender is a powerful tool. Now, surrender is surrendering to the control that you already have from a deeper level. Understand that there are two yous. Now, parallel reality-wise, there are an infinite number of yous. But two yous in the sense that there is your inner world and your outer world, and the way that you relate to those. Now, you can think of it like your ego and the universe, the ego and the higher self. Now, if we are using our ego and trying to control everything, that causes resistance because of the gap between what our job of our ego is and what the job of our higher self is, or the universe is. Now, when you surrender, what you are doing is you are giving the power over to the higher self. You are giving the trust over to the universe, and you are allowing it to work in your favor. Whereas before, the ego wants to do everything. Sometimes I catch myself because I'm such a hard worker. I've identified with this label of being a hard worker. I then have to do this, do this, do this. But it's becoming much more easier for me now. I still, quote unquote, work hard, but it's not really working hard. It's just discipline. It's me doing things and aligning myself up with choices of intention. And now intention is where the power is with this, but understand that with intention, you are deciding, you are doing things, but there doesn't have to be resistance there. There doesn't have to be controlled, eagerness to get somewhere else. Surrender is when you understand that the universe is supporting you. It's when you understand that there is a larger aspect of your life that if you allow it and through self-acceptance, you can really see that things can happen for you. This is something I'm tapping into more and more. This is something that's really changing my life from the way that I see the whole process. You can have self-acceptance, meaning you accept the moment to be. If you realize that maybe there's a job you have that you don't enjoy right now, accept it. Accept that it's part of your reality now. The paradox is that as you accept it and you start to enjoy where you are, you can then consciously decide where you want to be. But because you are deciding your state of being, you are opening up other opportunities for things to come in. How many times have you seen and heard of people who are trying desperately to get their ex back or to attract a specific person, and they try so hard and with no results, but the moment they let it go and they don't care anymore, the moment that they decide it's not that big of a deal, there's other people out there, I'm going to go hang out with my buddies or my friends, they do that, they start to let go, and there's the moment that person comes back. It's the moment that opportunities come up. Maybe that person doesn't come back, but maybe somebody better comes into their life. Let go, surrender, accept the moment for what it is. Understand that the true sense of control is surrendering to the control that you already have at a deeper level. That as you begin to become aware of this, everything in your life will begin to change. That if you ever feel resistance, accept that you are feeling resistance. Don't label it, don't identify with it, just accept it. It's there. Be aware of it, observe it. As you do that, you'll find that almost everything begins to change in your life. You'll find that opportunities begin to line up for you. You find that things just begin to happen. You find that you begin to just feel better a majority of the time. And I think that's where a lot of the power is. That's the route I'm starting to learn to go down, and it's really changing my life in many ways. So with this process also comes understanding surrender from the point of view of our subconscious mind and how we can consciously decide our own thoughts and our own beliefs to really create the life that we want. Now, I created a free MP3 that is a subconscious mind reprogramming tool that you can use. It'll make you change your self-image, or it'll allow you to change your self-image so that as you change the way you see yourself, you'll change what you project out into the world, even at subconscious levels, and you'll change the way that you come and show up in the world. So that's something I'm giving away for absolutely free. Right now, you can download that in the description box below. Listen to it at least 21 days, and you'll find that over those 21 days, amazing things happen because you start to see yourself in a completely new way. You start to link up with the feeling of who you really are, and that will help you to create the life that you want. So you can download that below. That is in the description box. And other than that, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace, much love, namaste.